Hey guys! So welcome to Flourish Talks. Oh, I need to hide this. Aha. Welcome to Flourish Talks. I am your host, Olivia Thomas. Super excited to have you here. Today, it's been a while. First of all, hi. It's been a couple of weeks since I've actually done a Flourish Talk, which, I had to regroup, get my next schedule for the next people who are coming on, and the next, I think, 6 people. You're going to absolutely love them. I'm super excited about all the people you're going to meet. But today we are talking to Phylicia L. Henry. She is the founder of Seek God Slay Goals, and she's also an automation advocate, expert human being. So she pretty much helps you to take the things that you do every day in your business and turn them into workflows and automation, so you can kind of take a step back and do the work of the work and not all the maintenance kind of administrative communicative stuff that comes with business too. I know for me personally, when I first got into business, it was like, oh my gosh, there's 2 parts to this thing, and it's like, it's a lot. It can be a lot. So to be able to kind of delegate to machines or to other people, it's huge. So that's pretty much what she does. Now, we met. How did we meet? So I love Phylicia. I think she is just like a calm storm. Like, she's possibly the most calm person I've ever met in my entire life. She's just so relaxed and so chill. She's just about her business, and I adore that. We met a few years ago when I was still trying to figure out what my business actually looks like. And I was like shooting videos for an organization, and like, I really shouldn't have been doing it. Like, that's not my jam. Like, it's not my jam, and that's okay. Yeah. So we met there, and we just seemed so familiar to each other. And it's just like, I feel like I know you. I'm pretty sure I do. We still haven't figured out where we know each other from. But here we are a few years later, like, still connected, still like supporting each other, and, just picking up each other's businesses. So I am happy to introduce you to her. So here she is, Phylicia L. Henry. Hi, Phylicia.
Hi, I'm so excited. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm healthy.
Awesome.
I'm safe, so can't complain.
Right. It's, I feel like that's the trifecta. Well, healthy, safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I said my part about you and why I love you and why I think you're so amazing and excellent. Wink, wink. That's a callback to
Throwback.
of our past together. But please, you tell us who you are and what you got going on.
Sure. And I was cracking up listening to your introduction because I'm trying to remember, like, how do I really know Olivia? We just met, and we just were like, I feel like we know each other, but we didn't really know from where. And it was just like, all right, it is what it is. And
That's it.
like you said, we just been rocking ever since. And I'm not even going to get all mushy, but I support you. I love everything that you're doing. And but enough of that. We don't want to have tears on here.
Because I will cry.
Listen, I just feel like with everything that's going on, everything makes me emotional. But nonetheless, and it's funny because I don't really talk about myself a lot. So, but what I do, I'm a self-proclaimed automation advocate, and because I love automation when it comes to business, I believe it is a game changer for your business. And so what I do through my consulting business, I help solopreneurs create automated workflows so that they can enhance their client experience. And really what that means is that those tasks, those manual tasks that we're doing in our businesses, a lot of the things that we're doing, it can be automated. And so I help you to create those automated workflows so that the system can take care of those things instead of you doing these things like sending emails, follow-up emails, questionnaires, surveys, even scheduling your social media. There's so much that you can automate, and I don't think as solopreneurs we realize what can be automated. And so I help you create those automated workflows. And I just love it because automation is amazing. And then outside of that, I also run a Christian lifestyle brand called Seek God, Slay Goals. And we are helping the millennial woman to enhance her health, her spiritual health, economic, emotional, and physical health. So I am just, staying busy doing those things.
I love it. I super love it. Oh my gosh. I feel like we start businesses and we often think about all the things. And you know what? Maybe we previously started businesses and started thinking about all the things that you have to do, and like you kind of take it on yourself as opposed to thinking of the ways that it can be scheduled and put out. So I mean, you already know I love what you do. So how did you even get into that, right? Because I made a slight reference to, what we knew each other doing before. But like, when was it like, you know what, I need to help people automate? Like, how did you even do that?
It was evolution. It was a journey. So when I first quit my job, I don't even know. I guess it's been 4 years now. I did not have a plan. I do not recommend that for anybody. And I'm not one of those people that's like, quit your job, be an entrepreneur. No, that just happened to be my path. And so when I quit my job, though, I just knew that I couldn't do that anymore. And so I didn't really know what I was going to do. I knew I wanted to help women reach their goals. I knew I wanted to help people be excellent. But I didn't really have a clue. And so it started out with Developing in Excellence, which was the nonprofit organization that, you've been kind of touching on, but that was for teen girls. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe I can do something similar for women, but I didn't know what it was. And so, to be honest, I don't know how it just kind of evolved into automation. I didn't know. I think as I became engrossed in the online space, my eyes were opened up to what the possibilities were with having an online business, because I just didn't even know. And then when I realized that some of the things that I use just in my personal, my personal endeavors, church endeavors, that's something that I could actually help other people with. I was like, oh, I can do this as a business, because it's something that just comes naturally to me. I'm just always looking for some type of system or software to help with something. And so I think just over the years, it's kind of just naturally evolved into me being able to articulate that as a service. And so that's where we are now. But it really just started with, okay, I want to help people reach their goals. I have a background in admin, that's just one of my giftings. And so just kind of everything evolving and meshing. It wasn't like a step one, this happened, step two, this happened, step three, this happened. It just was a kind of a natural evolution as you try things out that don't work, and you just keep trying. And finally, when something sticks and something makes sense, you keep going with that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much, because I think it's always a journey forward. Like we often talk about like going back to, something, or, restoring things and all those things. But so much of life in general is like moving forward and figuring out what you want to do, also by knowing what you don't want to do. And kind of putting it together in that way where it's like, oh, this is actually, aligned with my gift, but then also aligned with profitability, and like, making sure that I can survive, while helping other people to do things too. I love that so much. So tell me about Seek God, Slay Goals. So I know you do a lot of like mindset conversations, and obviously, if you're talking about God, you're talking about the spiritual aspect of your life, which is foundational, right? So like, tell me a little bit about that.
So I guess Seek God, Slay Goals kind of, well, so like I said, I quit my job a few years ago, and I didn't know if that was going to be my business, or so I was doing a lot of mixing of, the consulting, Seek God, Slay Goals, but I finally made a decision that Seek God, Slay Goals was going to be something separate from what I did in my consulting. And when I started, it was really just because I just really wanted to see women strengthen in their faith walk, just have support in their faith walk, and just get the necessary tools that they needed to not only be healthy spiritually, but have just life resources as well. Because sometimes I feel like that part is missing from spiritual life. So that's how it kind of came about. And at first it was just, I mean, we're in a Facebook group, and we do Bible studies, we have different trainings, but really this year, honestly, during the pandemic was when we kind of became more specific with what we were going to focus on, those 4 different areas of health: the spiritual, economic, emotional, and physical health, because it has to be a holistic journey. You can't just be healthy spiritually, but you have to be healthy in all these other ways as well. And even if you are a believer, you have to be healthy physically to do the work of ministry, right? You have to be healthy economically to be able to give back, to those who are less fortunate. And so it's not just one piece. And so we focus on all those areas for those reasons. And, I really just want to build community. We're specifically targeting women because, a lot of times the relationships between women in our community is broken. And, we want to have that sense of community and not competition. And, how we can get as women, kind of competing against one another, and all those things that come with, just being a Black woman. Sometimes you don't really see that support. And so that was also a component of it. I wanted it to be a community-based atmosphere, not necessarily just, okay, Phylicia's doing this, but really, what is the community doing? How can we support you? What do you have going on so we can help you get to where you need to go? And so that's really the basis and the gist of it. And, we gather mainly in the Facebook group where we do Bible studies, and we, have conversations in there. We have plans to grow in different types of ways. I'm excited to be launching our first virtual summit. And so I'm just excited about where we are and where we're going.
Awesome. I love it. I love it so much. I love the conversation of like holistic health. I think is always a huge one, especially in terms of spirituality. Like, I think we think of spirituality as, or traditionally in the Christian church, right? Or the Black Christian church even. I think we think of our relationship to God as, and I think I kind of texted this to you before, as like a means of survival, right? Versus a means of actually creating and growing something, so that thing can, be the hands and feet of Jesus in the world. But like actually do something, and not like be the hands and feet in this like really rhetorical, ethereal, like I'm spiritual, so this is a good thing kind of way. So I mean, like, how do you kind of introduce your spiritual practice into your work, or how do you introduce your work into your spiritual practice? Like, how does that work for you?
Yeah, so I kind of struggle. Well, I don't want to say struggle, but I was, kind of contemplating, okay, how am I going to include my spirituality with what it is that I do? And, should I separate it? But really, it's a part of who I am. Yeah. So I can't really separate it. So even though, with the consulting business, I'm not necessarily, preaching or talking to you about God, but how I'm interacting with you is Christ-like. The integrity that I am engaging with you as a business is Christ-like. The work that I'm doing, just showing up to do the work, right? Because they say faith without works is dead. All of it, just the character of it and how I'm operating is based and rooted in my faith. And so for me, when I think about faith and, how I integrate it into my business, really for me, faith is, I don't want to go too spiritual, but faith for me is like, it's not a feeling. And I feel like when we think about our spirituality, we think it's a feeling, but faith is really action. Faith is belief. So if you're saying you believe in something, you're going to act on it. So whether that's your belief in God, you're going to act on, okay, the principles that he is laying out for you in the word. If it's your business, right, that you're believing in, that you say you believe in, that you say that God led you to do, you're going to show up and do some work behind it. It's not just a feeling. So faith is really action. And so I think for me, that's how my faith translates into my business, is because how am I acting? What are the actions that are in line with what I say I believe in?
I like that. I love that. I love that. I think we hear faith without works is dead, and we don't necessarily put it within that context where it's like it lives in every part of your life, including like your work. But then also, it's not even just like, how do I even put it? It's like if you believe it, you're gonna do it. It's not just this like it's just not this disconnected thing,
Right.
because you're only one person.
Right. And I think I feel like there's also this misconception that if you have faith, then things will be easy, or if you have faith that you don't have to necessarily do work because, oh, it'll work itself out, or God will work it out for you. But no, you're called to do the work. And some things we're waiting for God to do. It's like he's like, you can do this. This is your part. I have a part in it, but this isn't my part. This is your part. You need to show up. You need to create a space for me to even do something through you. Like, how are you even allowing God to use you? Are you even showing up? Are you giving him an opportunity to bless you? You know what I mean? And so I think we try to, how do I want to frame this? I think we just try to get out of the responsibility that comes with faith. It's kind of like more so of a receiving thing instead of an acting and a doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's both. It's both.
Yeah.
It's not one. It's not either or. It's both.
Yeah. It's like removing yourself from the process to just kind of say like, well, God's going to do it. And I mean, yeah, like Romans 8:28, like all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. I think people tend to use that as like, okay, whatever happens, like God's going to take it and he's going to use it and it's going to be fine, as opposed to being intentional and responsible for their own faith and their own growth. And then like the work that you're supposed to do in tandem with what God is doing in your life. And I remember like last year, 2 years ago, I think it was Genesis Dorsey wrote a status talking about like, it's crazy how people are praying to go deeper in the word, but won't read their word. And I was like, yeah.
Woo, wow.
I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Like you have this prayer.
Will snatch your edges. Oh my goodness.
Listen, I love her statuses. I love her. I need to get her on here. Yeah, like she, like that, I was just like, yeah, you're right. And what was this, 2 or 3 years ago, honestly? And it kind of lit something in me where I was just like, I'm praying for things, but I'm not acting for the things that I'm praying for. So how am I supposed to get the things?
Absolutely.
It makes no sense.
It's kind of like, okay, I've prayed, and I'm just going to use a very extreme example. Like, you know, we pray for God to bless us with these 6-figure business. Well, this is really not an extreme example, but we pray for God to bless us with these 6-figure businesses, and we want to be millionaires and all this stuff, right?
7 streams.
Right. What are you doing? Okay, let's just say God's like, okay, I'll oblige you for this. He gives you $1 million. Do you know how to steward it? Ooh. What are you going to do with the money? Right? Do you know how to handle money? You know, or are you going to squander it on something? Do you know how to make more money from the money that he's giving you? You know, are you going to go shopping with all your money? Are you going to invest it? You know, so I think it's like we have these lofty things that we're asking God for, but okay, what are we doing to prepare? Are we even prepared? Not just, you know, like, okay, with investments or whatever, but are we prepared mentally? Are we prepared in our character to even handle the things that we are asking God for? Even like, okay, we want to be married. Are you really prepared to be married? Are you prepared to sacrifice? Are you prepared to do all the things that come along with it? And I think that's something that we just have to be more intentional and mindful of. It's like, okay, we're praying for these things, but are we preparing for them? Are we ready for them? And is this even what God has for us?
Mm.
Because some things we might be praying for, it might not even be a part of His will for our lives. And so that's where your relationship with God comes in. You have to be connected to Him to be so in tune to know that your prayers are in line with what it is He has for you.
Yeah.
But you won't know that if you're not seeking God. Right.
Right. Seriously. Like how do you even know what someone likes or what someone wants if you don't actually talk to them? And I always like right now, my son, I'm trying to explain to him, his whole life. I've been trying to explain to him what it means to have a relationship with God. And I'm like, it's like a relationship with anybody else. Like,
right.
You talk to them. Like, you speak, you listen, they speak, you listen. Like, it's kind of a back and forth, like dialogue that's happening for you to kind of grow in your relationship. And that's how you get to know like what works within your relationship. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just some osmosis thing where you go to church once a week and, you put your hand on your Bible and you have one, or, you don't have any like actual consistent spiritual practices. And then all of a sudden you're a saint. Like, it doesn't really work that way. But then another thing that you even said was like stewardship. Like, what does it mean to get the things that you even want? Like, because you become the person that you are when you get the things that you want. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That was good. Yeah.
And it's like if you haven't developed character.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to have the character to handle the things that are going to come your way. And I think, like, for example, the people who win the lotteries and you find out a year later that they went through all the money and all because they didn't have good stewardship. They didn't have the character, or they might not have had the mentality, right, to handle those things. And so that's why for Seek God Slay Goals, the holistic approach is so important, because yes, your spirituality is your foundation, but these other areas, they also matter for while we're here on the earth to, live out our calling the best way possible.
I love it. I love it so much. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So in terms of, let's take a step back into worky work stuff. So if someone is building their business and they are faithful to this business, they are prayed up, they are, doing everything they need to do. What are the things they should think about in terms of automation and delegation and really putting systems in place for creating growth? Like what should they be thinking about?
So, well, first, before I get into that, I wanted to, because you said something, I don't know what you just said that made me think, oh, you said prayed up, right? And I think sometimes we think that, okay, we're praying, we're doing all the right things. It's okay if what you're doing is not working. It's okay to, and I think we've had this conversation before, to pivot. I think that we feel like if we change what we're doing, or if we have to go in a different direction, that it's a failure. Even if it is a failure isn't a bad thing. It's a lesson, right? It's a learning lesson. And so it's okay that you were on a path that you thought was right, or you were doing things that you thought were right, but you found out that it wasn't. And so now you have to go in a different direction. I think we kind of hold on to our ideas of how things should be, and sometimes that hinders us from getting to where we really need to be. And I know for me, I struggled with that in my journey, because I was like, oh, I thought this was it, and I didn't want to seem like I was flaky and I didn't know what I was talking about or was doing. But you just holding yourself up from getting to where you need to go. So just pivot if you have to. Yeah. But to answer your question,
that was so good.
So when you're thinking,
just go.
Yeah, because something you said just triggered me, and I was like, wait, hold on, let me say that.
That's the word.
But when it comes to, that's how Holy Ghost be. When it comes to automation, I think first okay, yes, I love automation. It's amazing. I think you should consider automation before you consider hiring an assistant. But before you even consider all of those things, you have to know how your business operates. And you need to already have a workflow in place. You need to know, okay, I'm going to just go through this really quickly. So I think my belief, my philosophy is that there's 5 areas of your business that drive the operations of your business. I'm not saying there's not other areas, but I think these 5 areas really, drive the operations. And so your marketing, your sales, your client experience, human resources, and your finances. So within each of those different areas, you as the business owner, you need to know, okay, what is the step-by-step process? And this should be written down somewhere. What is the step-by-step process for how I am operating my marketing, right? What's my marketing process? So are you doing email marketing, social media marketing? What platforms are you on? Like literally sitting and taking time to flush out your workflow, which is just basically a step-by-step process, right? And this, I think we kind of eliminate or breeze over this part of it because, when we start a business, it's our baby. We're just doing stuff. We're just trying to hustle. We just trying to get things done. But when it's time to grow, this really is important because trying to explain what you do to somebody else, they're not in your business the way that you are. So these things come second nature to you. They're not going to come second nature to somebody else. When it's time for you to start thinking about automation, if you have your workflow, you can look at it and say, okay, this part can be automated. This part might be able to be delegated to somebody else. This part I should not even be doing at all. I can eliminate it. And so before you even think about automation or bringing somebody else in, you need to have your processes written out. So for everything that you do in your business on a day-to-day basis, and it can be as small as even for you when you're doing these the live streams, right? So step by step, how do you do a live stream? Because for somebody else, if you wanted to delegate that to somebody else, you want it done the way you want it done. So you have to be able to explain that to them, right? And there's a lot of steps that we just automatically do that somebody else might not think about. So that's why having the written workflow is really important. So I think that's the first step, and those things that you're writing out is not set in stone. It's going to evolve as your business evolves. Just start where you are and start writing things down. So it's not like you can't change it. It's going to change. So it's going to be a evolving working document. But you start with those processes, your sales process. How are you converting people from prospects to clients? Are you getting on the phone with them? Are you selling through a landing page? Are you selling through DMs or cold calling, cold pitching, whatever? So how are you doing these things, right, on a day-to-day basis? Because, okay, what if you want to take a vacation and you need some contractors to do some stuff for you? Or what if you just want to set up some automation so you can take a break? Is your business going to fall apart because everything is relying on you actually showing up and doing the work? And so that's really the point of being able to automate and delegate. Is like, a lot of times we start our businesses because we want to have impact. We want to have some type of lifestyle freedom, right? Financial freedom. But you can't have that lifestyle freedom or the impact really if you don't have these systems in place. Like, because there's no way that you can continue to do everything in your business and think you're going to have any type of freedom. So that's where you start, is writing out your processes.
Yeah, that's because you need standard operating procedures, like even for yourself, because it's hard for you, even as a business owner, to like kind of jump into owner versus like doer sometimes and actually get things done, because it's like you have to keep switching your brain to do the different parts of the business. And that's actually something I was thinking about. And that's kind of why I ended up hitting you up, because like this is something I was thinking about as I was working on this course that I'm working on. There's a part where I'm talking about like it's business modeling, right? And there's a part where I'm talking about your activities, what you're going to do every day, every week, month, quarter, year, to make your business actually work. And then as I was thinking about that part, I was thinking about your exit strategy. like a lot of people think about the idea of your exit strategy as like, oh, I'm going to sell the company and, you know, make $1 billion, and da 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 da. But I think your exit strategy can be as small as, how do I even like give this to someone else to do so that I can physically, you know, go to Aruba?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can just
Right.
do something else for a little while. So like I love like, and that makes perfect sense what you said. Like you just, like if you don't know how to do it, or you know how to do it as second nature as opposed to as a process.
Right.
Yeah. So real.
And then when you write it out, you might see that the way you're doing it might not even be the best way to do it. You're just doing it that way because that's how you've always done it, right?
Yeah.
So writing it out is helpful not only just for if other people come in, but for yourself. You'll kind of have a different, lens to see things through. And we want to always be trying to work smarter, not necessarily harder. We want to be more efficient with how we're spending our time, because we can't get more of it. And so, yeah, I think that's the best place to start. And then once you have that, you can say, oh, let me automate this, right? And there's a lot of the client experience. So I really, focus heavily on like sales/client experience automations. There's so much that you can automate in your client experience that we as solopreneurs, we just do manually. So yeah, that's really what I focus on. You can automate. I use this example so much. I love using Dubsado. Everybody knows, if you follow my page, I'm always talking about Dubsado. But like you can literally, from the time you schedule, I'll just use a basic example, trying to schedule an appointment to talk to somebody, right? A lot of times we're going back and forth in email. Hey, want to schedule a call? Let me know the times you have available. This person sends you back 3 times and then you pick a time, or these times might not work. And so y'all are going back and forth in email for, could be a couple of days, maybe, depending on how quick or slow people respond. And that whole process can be automated, right? If some of us, we know this, but a lot of people don't. You can literally just have a scheduler, Acuity or Calendly, VC, to whatever you want to use. And you as the business owner, you are setting the times that you are available. You put them into the system. You can set it up all on the back end. And so if somebody is trying to schedule a time with you, all you have to do is send them a link. That's it. Your work is done. You're not having to spend that time going back and forth trying to figure out availability. Your availability is already set. And so they can pick the time, and you can set up the automated emails so that confirmation emails are sent out, confirmation texts are sent out, reminder emails and texts are sent out. And so all that time that you would be manually doing those things, the automated system is doing it for you. And so now you are freed up to do what you need to do. Stay in your, zone of genius, like we hear on the internet. Stay in your zone, right?
I love it. I love it. That's so, like, does Dubsado do text reminders?
So I don't use Dubsado's scheduler just because I've been using Acuity for so long, and I love Acuity. Right. But I don't, their scheduler is pretty new, so I don't think they have added the text feature yet, but they're always updating their system. So I wouldn't be surprised if they added it, but I don't think right now they do.
They are. They were actually my first, well, not my first CRM, but within the last couple of years, they were my like workflow CRM, or workflow driven CRM. And like, I loved them so much, except they didn't like have the scheduler, which was fine. And I mean, I didn't really mind it, even because at that time I was using Calendly. And I think I've moved, like, I really love Dubsado. I think it's such a clean interface.
Yes.
Like, it makes you feel pretty.
Right. And I'm a visual person, so I think for me that's part of it too.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, like, I eventually moved over to HoneyBook, just to kind of see if I felt any different about it. And honestly, I don't. But like, I even love the idea of you saying, like, even for these videos, you can create a workflow for that. So I'm in the process right now of like making my workflows and like my processes, especially for client interactions, because I hate going back and forth and scheduling and like when are we gonna start and what's a good time for, like I hate that. I can't stand it. So
Yeah.
like it's honestly been such a game changer to be like, this is your proposal, your invoice, your contract, sign it, boom, schedule, and everything just kind of goes back and forth. And like,
can I talk about that for a second? Because that might be one of my favorite features in Dubsado. I don't know, I guess HoneyBook might do it too, but the fact that you can send a proposal, a contract, and an invoice, that it can all be automated. All you have to do is start your workflow and they can do all of that. They can accept the proposal, sign the contract, and pay your invoice, and you're not even involved in the process. Of course, once you set it up, right? It's going to take some work on the front end or the back end for you to set it up. But once it's set up, you just start your workflow and that's it. You're like, that's so much time that is saved that you're not doing all of this back and forth and sending these emails and trying to get them to pay an invoice. Like it's all automated. It's a beautiful thing.
It's so
It's a beautiful
amazing.
thing.
And I mean, like,
that's one of my favorites.
yeah, I love it so much. And then you can focus so much more on like getting business. Like you can spend the majority of your time or more of your time like actually marketing instead of having to like, you know, hustle with people to see if they even want it or like whatever. Like everything's there. Like they know what they want. They can select like, I want this service, that service, whatever. And if your services are all set up, like, girl, so good.
It's a game changer. I can't see people's names, but somebody said, what's the name of the platform? I don't know which one, but we were talking about Dubsado and HoneyBook. So I don't know which one you were asking about.
Sorry, girl. I'm still trying to figure out my comments. Because here we go. All right. I'm just going to have to look at the screen. So, yeah, Phylicia uses Dubsado, which I wholly believe is like an amazing one. And someone else said HoneyBook. Y'all, my screen broke. So if you see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at the actual screen that I'm looking at. But the show must go on, right? So all these hearts, thank you, love you guys. My favorite time. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, Dubsado is what Phylicia was using. Like, are there any other tools that you like or you would recommend, or you know, any game you'd like to spit?
So Dubsado is my favorite only because I work heavily with client experience, and that's really for people who, well, I won't even say that, but if you are like a service provider, that's great for you. Email, really, when it comes to all of these automated systems and softwares, it's really about your preference because most of them do the same or similar things. Just like Dubsado and HoneyBook, it's really your preference. They do similar things. I just like Dubsado. You know, we talk about email marketing a lot. There's a lot of different platforms that you can choose from for your email marketing. I will say I don't like MailChimp, but there's other free options like MailerLite. I don't like MailChimp because of their list structure, the way their lists are set up. But MailerLite has a free option, which is pretty good. And then I've used ConvertKit in the past. I don't use them anymore. I love ActiveCampaign. A lot of people use Flowdesk. I tested it out, but I haven't used it. But they all do the same thing. You know, scheduling your social media. I don't pay to do that right now because I don't use social media too heavily, but I just straight use Facebook Creator Studio, and you can schedule your Facebook posts to your Facebook page or your Instagram pages directly from Facebook Creator Studio. But there's other platforms that do that. Hootsuite. What's that other one?
Buffer.
Yes, Buffer. And later, I don't know, there's a ton, but it's really about how you work as a business owner, what you're looking for, the type of convenience you're looking for. So, you know, I can make recommendations all day, but it's really about, you know, you as a business owner, what your preference is. But I'm trying to think. I just really use email marketing, Dubsado. and the social media scheduler. Of course, things like, I use Acuity for scheduling, the calendar scheduler, but again, they all do pretty much the same thing, Calendly, VC, all those others. So yeah, that's.
Yeah, awesome. I think you made a pretty good point. They all do the same thing. I was talking to a client the other day, and she was like, we were, figuring out, some, I don't even remember what we were doing, some for business emails. I don't know. And, and then she said she saw something else. Oh, I know what it was. Where to host her course. And then she saw another platform to host her course on. And obviously, the marketing is going on and people are showing you like all the amazing results people are getting with their course platform, and, they're this and they're that. And then like, I could kind of see that she was getting like agitated because it's like, that looks so cool. And oh man, like I can get those results with that. And I'm like, you can get those results with this. Like,
yeah,
the thing isn't the thing. The work is the thing.
Yeah. And it does depend on your budget too, because a lot of things have different price points. But also, I will say some systems are more robust than others. So you also need to know where you are in your business, because sometimes you can get a software or a platform that's too much for where you're at, and you'll get overwhelmed and won't be able to do anything. Like Kartra, I've tested it out. It's amazing. I'm just not there yet, so I don't need it. Like it's overwhelming. Entreport, it's a lot happening. Like those are great systems that a lot of people, social media influencers will recommend. But for sometimes it just might not work for where you are in your business. And so I always like to put that out there too. They do great things, but just know where you are and what your capacity is. What's your learning curve? Are you somebody who's already techie and likes to, get involved with this stuff? Are you going to be able to understand it? Is it going to be more stress to you trying to figure these things out? So you have to take all of that into consideration too.
That's so real. Like, because you get in there and it can become so overwhelming that you just stop.
Don't do anything. Right. And then you're just wasting your money. They getting you every month for $99.
$99. It's like, I just spent $1,200 on this thing. I didn't use it.
All year. Right.
That's so real. And then like also like you made a good point with that too. Like, does it have the capacity that you actually need? Whether, is it too much or is it not enough? Because it's like, if there are certain things you need your business to do and only these certain things, like, do you need to go with something that's, less expensive or more expensive or whatever? Like, what do you actually need for it to do?
Right. Yeah. I think we get so caught up in the internet is great, but I hate it at the same time. And we get so caught up in what people are doing and all of the glitz and what I think somebody called it shiny object syndrome. I don't know if you said that or somebody else, but
that wasn't me. I'm gonna use it though. Thank you,
person. It's exhausting. So don't get caught up in what everybody's doing. Just figure out what works for you.
Yeah. I like literally always say this. Like Seth Godin said that at any given time you're either a producer or a consumer, and you really have to think through that in terms of like operating your life, like not even just your business, like your life, right? Like if you're consuming something in the moment, and there's a time for both, and that's also like a very important thing to say, because I think you can go overboard in production and not consumption.
Right.
But like if you're just consuming all the time and it's just like this ad, this influencer, this pretty picture, this, that, whatever, like you can't really do anything and you can't really focus on anything either. Like there's way too much stuff out there in the world. Like everyone has a platform.
It's a lot. And then you start, this is a whole nother conversation, but then if you're always consuming and looking at what other people are doing, you start to compare where you're at and what you're supposed to be doing to them, but you don't know what their process was or where they're at in their journey, right? And so that whole comparison thing, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But, just stay focused on what you're doing, where you're at, and what works for you.
You really, I mean, so one of the people that I love to follow on Instagram is Myleik Teal, the founder of Curlbox. If I had to follow literally like one person, like that's probably it. And I think it's because she generally speaks with candor about, you know, her process. Obviously, her pictures aren't always about the process, but in her stories, if you read her stories or listen to her podcast or whatever, she's like, look, I can't show you every bad thing that's happening in my life, but there are bad things happening in my life, and it's just part of the process. And I love that.
Yeah.
Like it kills the whole like comparison paradigm, because it's like you only see the highlight reel, which is what it is. But there's so much happening behind that. Even to get that picture in the first place, you had to take it like 5 or 6 times, like at least.
Listen, that is so real. Like, social media is so fake. Oh my goodness. I don't want to get on a soapbox about it, but it's not real. Social media is fake. And you know, I do it too, you know, because you know, it's a part of you trying to present an image, you know, for your business. And so yes, you're trying to get the right pose for your picture, but there's a lot that's not shown. We're only showing you the wins. Like, we're only showing wins. And there have been, for every win, there's like 10 failures. Like, I might have a program or a service now that's working, but there were 10 that failed, that it was crickets. Nobody signed up for. I was just like, man, why did I quit my job? Like, there are so many failures, and social media is not real. So
it's not.
That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
It's not. And I mean, like, when you, like, as a business owner, really sit there and think about the fact that social media is put there as a marketing tool, like, it's not meant to be real. It's meant to show you the best version of everything. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's a mess. So you have a summit coming up. Please enlighten me. Enlighten us, the class.
I am so excited about this summit. So it's called the Seek God Slay Goals Virtual Summit. And I talked about how I did a video about it, so I'm not going to go into it, but it's on the Seek God Slay Goals Facebook page. I did not want to do this summit, but I'm in this season of just trying to be obedient. So we're doing the summit. It is going to be July 27th through the 30th. The theme is Break Free. And so it's really, the idea is that we are breaking free from these cycles, breaking free from these chains that we have found ourselves in over the years, so that we can be healthy and experience freedom in those 4 different areas that I mentioned before: spiritually, economically, emotionally, and physically. And so we have 4 speakers every night. We're going to focus on one different area. So Monday night, Dr. Shonda Reynolds, she's going to come on, and we're going to be talking about emotional and being emotionally and mentally healthy. On Tuesday night, Genesis Dorsey, she's going to be on. She's going to be talking about economic health and freedom through entrepreneurship. Wednesday night, we have Janaea Wolf. She'll be on. She's going to be talking about physical health through nutrition and physical fitness. So Wednesday night is going to be a teaching and a mini virtual workout. And then on Thursday night, Leia Artist, she's going to come and just help us build our foundation so we can be spiritually healthy and well. And so I'm excited. It's free. So if y'all want to sign up, go on and sign up. You can go to our website, seekgodslaygoals.com/summit. It's free. There is that's standard access. There is gold access if you want the break free affirmation audio. That's another level. So you can get that as well. But I'm excited. So that's, the affirmation audio is coming, but I'm also going to be curating a break free playlist. I love music. I love worship. So I'm gonna be curating a playlist for everybody who's going to be attending. And it's just some other things that we're going to throw in there. So I'm excited. Like, I just think that we really just end up in these cycles, and we're stuck, and we're bound by things, and it's just time for us to break free. So that's really what the idea of the summit is, and I'm excited. So go ahead and register. seekgodslegals.com/summit.
Yay. Okay. I'm excited. I'm gonna register. So I hope I see y'all there or see y'all
Right.
there.
See.
You know, Corona. And
yeah. And it's not going to be on Facebook. I know sometimes people tell you to register for stuff and it still ends up being up on Facebook. It's not. It's going to be private session. So if you want the info, you got to register.
I appreciate that personally. I see like a lot of times I'm seeing like these summits and it's just like it ends up being like an invitation to a Facebook group or like I don't know. And I just think that like you can't use Facebook for everything. And I frankly don't want to. Like I love it for what it is. You know, it is a wonderful tool as it is. But yeah. Oh, speaking of Corona, because I just mentioned that, how have you been like with like the coronavirus and business and everything? Like how's that been?
Honestly, I haven't really seen a downturn. You know, I've been good during this. Staying home hasn't been a problem. I always work from home. I'm a homebody, so that wasn't an issue. And you know, business didn't go down. So, you know, God has kept me, sustained me, blessed me. So I'm grateful.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. I think it's been like obviously, you know, coronavirus is a very real and scary thing, but I also think that it's been such a restorative time for the people who have kind of like, you know, just like not been affected and like stayed home and just like cloistered unto themselves. I think it's just been so restorative and just like you're just doing work and doing the things and like you have an excuse not to go to the party or like whatever. It's like,
Listen,
I'm just trying not to get corona.
I'm always that person that registers for stuff and never goes. So now I had an excuse not to go.
Yeah. Seriously. But my best friend was like, you don't actually go anywhere. You show up, say hi, and leave. And I'm like, yes. That's it.
Pretty much. And you know what's so funny? Before Corona hit, I was like, all right, I'm going to do better. I'm going to go. I'm going to show up. Then it hit. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just chill then. Maybe later. Maybe next year.
God laughs at our plans.
Right.
I can't even.
Hilarious.
A mess. Girl, all right. So you're amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
You are amazing.
You had any parting words? Anything to tell, you know, the Busy Girls Brunch? What would they be?
So I was speaking somewhere, I don't know, I was at a brunch and they were asking questions and I felt like every answer to my question was seek God. And so that really, you know, our organization is called Seek God Slay Goals, but it's very intentional because I do believe in every area of your life, you should be seeking God first. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And so that's always going to be my message. Seek God. You know, we're looking for answers. We're trying to figure out strategies for our businesses. We're trying to figure out which way we should be going. You know, do I stay in this relationship? You know, all the things. We're trying to figure things out. Seek God. He has your answers. You know, the end. It's, you know, I think we complicate things. I really do think we complicate life and things. So yeah, just see God. And oh yes, you said something earlier. Dialogue. It's a dialogue. It's not just when we're, you know, building a relationship with God or anybody, but specifically now I'm talking about with God and seeking God. It is a dialogue. It's not just you coming to God with your problems or coming to him with your petitions or your requests. You have to stay there long enough for you to hear and listen his direction, his instructions. So it's a two-way street. It's a dialogue. It's not just you talking to God. It's you also listening. So seeking is listening, is you speaking, but you're also listening to hear what he's saying back to you, because we need that instruction and that guidance to then go and do what it is he's telling us to do.
I love it. I love it. So real. I have so much more to say. but I will never let you go. I swear I won't.
I know we will be here all day.
No, just riffing. Like it's just, yes.
Listen, I'm down for a part 2, or we could just have a phone call.
One or the other. I might just have to schedule again in August. I think August 20th is open, so you might be back on August 20th.
I'm always down.
I love it. I love it so much. Phylicia, thank you for being here. Thank you for being who you are. For just doing what you do in the areas that you do it. Like I'm grateful for the influence you've had on my life. Like I know, again, we don't like talk all the time, but I love seeing what you produce, and I love seeing the work that you do. And every time we do talk, I feel like I come away like better. So thank you very much for being you and for being here. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And it's, the feeling is mutual. I'm not going to say the same thing you just said because you just said it, but it's the feeling is very, very mutual. I'm always like, oh yes, when you're coming out with stuff, I'm just inspired, and it's amazing. And so you be encouraged, keep doing what you're doing. I know this entrepreneurship journey, we both just trying to figure it out. So just keep pushing, sis. Keep pushing.
All the time. Yes, thank you so much. All right, BGB, thank you so much for being here too. If you want to reach out to Phylicia or connect with her, where do we find you?
Oh yeah, so literally I am Phylicia L. Henry, and my name is Phylicia. Phylicia L. Henry, Facebook, Instagram, that's my website. And then if you want to connect with Seek God Slay Goals, we're that everywhere on social, Facebook, Instagram, Seek God Slay Goals.
I love it. I love it so much. Ma'am, thank you so much. Let me actually look over here. Ooh, we've been here for an hour? Wow, that's crazy. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, BGB. I will see you guys later. Bye.
Thank you.